Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dairy Raid. And guess this isn't a morning walk and talk. This is a more of a mid-afternoon sit and chat kind of thing. I'm actually sitting in my office at the facility. Got one last junior game to end this season, and I'm, of course, as always, I'm here 3 hours early. So, thought perfect opportunity to sit and do a video. And it's been a while since we've done one like this, and that's simply because I kind of promised myself this year that I would only make videos on topics, issues that interest me in hopes of staving off some of the burnout that I got last year. And I don't know, just to keep what I'm doing fresh and meaningful to me. And I think I've done that so far this year. I think my breakdowns have been that much more focused than in the past, and I think in that point it's better. But now there actually is something that I do want to talk about, and unless you have been living under a rock, you've seen the news cycle the last couple days that instead of we get a letter from Chris McIntosh that instead of what we assumed would be him firing Luke Fickell, was a letter basically saying that admitting that the university needs to support the football program more financially to help it compete in a changing Big Ten. In so many terms, I might have paraphrased that a little bit. And when I hear that, a couple things come to my head. One, I think it's 3 years too late. This should have been a part of Chris McIntosh's introductory press conference, because it shouldn't have taken a downturn on the football field to show what the numbers have already shown about the athletic department and the football team in general. And what I mean by that is, since Barry Alvarez has been a part of Wisconsin football, where have we been in terms of conference rank, in terms of wins, etc.? Top 5? Top 6, whatever, definitely the best in the Big Ten West. And yet, last season, we were 12th out of 16 teams in terms of spending in the football program. We were 13th of 16 in recruiting budget. And in a new corporate Big Ten, filled with teams that we used to only play once a year, these corporate football programs, two things are going to happen. You're either going to keep up with the Joneses or you're going to be left behind. And I've been saying for a while that the administration, the athletic department, need to make a decision. Is Wisconsin going to be a football school, or is football, we're going to do the best we can, but we're going to limit it because we have other things to worry about? And I know there are people are thinking here when I'm talking like that, well, we shouldn't put all the money into the football program. The hockey teams win more, the basketball team wins more, etc. Those programs make their own money. Football shouldn't have to subsidize women's hockey. Football shouldn't have to subsidize volleyball. They don't have to. They have their own money. And maybe those programs should be asking for more investment as well. Football program makes a lot of money. The football and the men's basketball program, as like every other big-time program, makes the majority of the money for the athletic programs. And yet, Wisconsin's football program spends some of the least amongst the public universities anyways. 12th out of 16. There's two other universities that aren't listed there. One of them, Northwestern, is probably above now, the fact that they're building a new training facility. And then USC, who's definitely above. They're probably the second highest, or if not the highest spending athletic department in the country. And so it's time that Wisconsin makes a decision. And I can hear you screaming through the phone, through the TV right here. It's like, we're a proud academic university and we shouldn't lower ourselves to standards of some of these other schools. So is Virginia for basketball. So is Michigan. So is USC. So is UCLA. All those programs, all those universities can have high-level athletic programs that spend a lot of money and can still be high-level academic institutions. I think the whole academic aspect of this is borderline bullshit, because Cardell Jones said it best. These kids are coming to Wisconsin to play football, not play school. School is a benefit, is a bonus to some of them, but a lot of them are here to take their football to the next level, and they choose Wisconsin to do so. So, what does this newfound enthusiasm towards spending for the football program, where is it going to lead us, and where could this program improve? Number one, coaches' salaries, and I'm not talking about the head coach. I had an argument with a guy on Twitter today saying that he thinks it would have been a better idea to hire a cheaper coach and then invest more of that money back into the program in other ways. And as I tried to explain to him, that's not how NIL worked back in 2022. And flat out, to be honest, that just sounds like how we always used to do things. We'll get the cheaper option and they'll just save that money. And they weren't going to invest it back then. Now they say they're going to. So, coaches, staff, what does that mean? Well, that means when Michigan comes calling for a defensive line coach, if we really wanted to keep him, we'd be able to pay to keep him. How many assistant coaches have we lost over the years because somebody else could pay him more? Dave Aranda. Wisconsin has enough money that back in the day, they could have paid Dave Aranda enough to stay at Wisconsin until he got a head coaching job. I fully believe that. Okay. Same thing with Jim Leonhard. Jim Leonhard gave the hometown discount, but there was going to come a point where someone was going to give him an offer he couldn't refuse. And it wasn't going to be a hometown discount to stay and be a coach here. So, same with somebody like Max Steinecker. The key person to our recruiting department. USC wants him. Why couldn't we outbid USC? We have to be able to. If we deem people important enough to our university, in terms of staff, in terms of players, in terms of anything, we should choose to keep them or not. If they wanted to let Max Steinecker go because they didn't feel he was worth it, so be it. I don't think there was anybody in the football department that would agree that it was okay that Max Steinecker left. And if you think so, you obviously have not been paying attention to what the players felt about him. Talking now about the latest big-time recruit that has caught the eye of Ohio State, Amari Latimer. This reminds me of Antonio Williams. And it's different now, though. Now, if we wanted to keep him, there are ways that we should be able to do so financially, recruiting, whatever. But we just are conditioned as Wisconsin fans that as soon as a big name program starts sniffing at one of the guys we like, oh, he's gone. And then we somehow either blame the kid for not choosing Wisconsin, making a dumb decision, which the negative recruiting of recruits by Badger fans, I hope one of these days you realize that does not help. The only thing it does is make us look like sour grape old men. But it all goes together in terms of the personnel. Facilities at UW for all sports have needed an upgrade. Football in particular. Have you been to the McLean Center? I was at the McLean Center 25 years ago, and it was a piece of shit, falling apart. couldn't punt indoors. I could hit the ceiling at the McLean Center as a high school punter back in 1999. Small field, bad lighting, whatever. Did you see the weight room before Gary Anderson came in and demanded that they upgrade the weight room to minimum standards? Did you see the student athlete facilities in terms of support that happened before Gary Anderson and that are still below standards when it comes to the rest of the Big Ten? Like, to us, sitting in our couches watching the games on TV, that stuff doesn't seem like it matters. It matters. When Iowa football players can go visit the Hayden Fry Center, or the Minnesota players can see the Bronco Nagurski Center, and not to mention Oregon, USC, Penn State, Ohio State, all the really big programs. It matters. And whether we like it or not, that is stuff that kids pay attention to, because it makes the kids feel like they are being taken care of. And it's also, eye candy helps. Little things like getting out of the Under Armour deal, which is expiring next year anyways, and getting with Nike would be huge. Why? Kids like Nike. Old men like Under Armour. So these are areas that the university can help the football team. Is it going to be enough to save Luke Fickell's job? Probably not. And I don't think it should. In fact, I could see people getting upset that he couldn't win without all of this stuff. What kind of coach is he? I can understand that. And I would kind of not necessarily agree, but I could see your point. But what this could do is we go into this offseason and Chris McIntosh demands coaching changes. We could go out and get the best offensive coordinator, the best defensive coordinator. We could keep the assistants we want. We can get better assistant coaches. We can get better assistants to the assistant coaches, whatever, better analysts. So then there is no excuse. Not there's an excuse now, but doubling down on the fact there's no excuse by surrounding our football players with the best people that we can. On top of that, having an NIL budget that, or player retention budget, whatever you want to call it, enough to get a top flight QB and fill holes in the defense if necessary. I've had the same arguments. Well, like, why did we spend so much to get Billy Edwards? Well, one, the QB market was very competitive. Two, he was probably the best we could get. I know people are saying Bo Pribula, but I never heard Wisconsin in the conversation for Bo Pribula until after the fact when he said it. Also, it doesn't matter. Billy got hurt, so we can't compare right now. But there was some talk about Fernando Mendoza. And do I think we ever had a legitimate shot at him? No. Same thing, they talked about Will Howard. There has been players over the last couple of years with, so instead of getting excited about third string wide receivers from Oklahoma State or redshirt freshmen from Cincinnati, or having to settle for Davis Heinzen when we couldn't afford the guy who ended up going to Cincinnati. We got outbid in NIL money for a tackle from Cincinnati. Let that sink in. We can get the players that we feel like we need it instead of settling. We can get the players we need and the players we want. Those things are important. And with the way college football is going, it is like pro football. You have to have the players in the draft, recruiting, and you have to have players in free agency. the transfer portal. And it needs to be both. It needs to be a program moving towards that more professional style of football. Because whether you like it or not, that is where the game is going. If you don't like it, go watch high school football. And to be honest, people are talking about, it's like, well, when NIL is being regulated and all the, after the House settlement, everything's going to even out. These are the same people who probably don't think BAGMET existed and still exist. You think that some of these NIL collectives, some of these businesses that are getting denied because they are not legitimate businesses, aren't getting their money to the players anyways? If you believe that everything in this is above board now, I have some magic beans I'd like to sell you. Don't be naive. The money, the under the table money that has been there for 50 years is still there. A lot of it is above the table now, but as soon as all this regulation gets put in place, it's going to go back under the table. And I'm not saying that we need to get involved with that stuff, but we've got to catch up before all that happens again, or we're going to stay behind. So, in conclusion, as I said, as soon as I saw the announcement, money talks and bullshit walks. If you are committing to making Wisconsin a football school, to helping the football program, then you have to do it, whether it's for Luke Fickell or the guy who's coming in after him. You have to go 100%. This can't be half-assed. This can't be hoping for Wisconsin discounts. This can't be nickel and diming, because you can't do that anymore. It's 100% or not at all. Flat out, simple, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I hope that whoever is in charge of the football program in 2026 is given all of the resources that they need. So then there is no excuse, period, if things go wrong on the football field. You had everything, you still can't win. There's your problem. Luke Fickell is a big part of the problem right now. Fully admit it. But give him more resources. Maybe he can do better. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But it certainly can't hurt. It can't hurt. And we have to remember, Wisconsin was not the only program who wanted Luke Fickell back in 2022. And when it comes down to it, this is just how it went. Bad decisions along the way ended up getting us here, but it is decisions that people would have made 9 times out of 10 back in the day anyways. So, all right, I think we'll stop it there. I am cautiously optimistic that this newfound support can have a positive impact on the football program. Is it going to be enough for the current roster and the current coaching staff? Probably not, but that just means the next guy in line is going to be, who's going to start 1 or 2 steps ahead, which is, it's better than nothing. I think the coaching staff and the football program has taken 2 steps back to go 2 steps forward. And if we start a step back to take two steps forward with the next staff, we'll be in the plus. I'm just rambling. You know what I mean. So that's it. We will see what happens on the football field on Saturday. I've been thinking all year that the Oregon game leading into this bye would be the make or break point of the year. We'll see if we're having another discussion on Monday talking about who's going to be the next coach. I already got my list. And no, it's not Jim Leonhard. He ain't coming back. Stop it, people. He's not coming back. All right. I think we'll call it there. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.